Alright guys, here is a video on movement. We're going to start with a video from a match. This is probably the best executed stage I've ever done. 1-for-1 on all the steel, and I think I had 2 Charlies. And I just wanted to throw this video because, you know, I did well. So, but it had to do with movement as well. I was pushing on that stage. So here's a slow-mo of some of my practices. This is going to be a mix of practice and some match videos. So here I am really pushing it. The targets, the paper targets up close are 7 yards, and the poppers are about 8 that are close. The paper target in the middle is about 12, and then there are 20-yard poppers at the far end. So here's a normal speed. So what I'm showing is this slow-mo, how I'm just really pushing, trying to take that shot as soon as I can. I'm focusing on my sights, an acceptable sight picture. I say this over and over, and pretty much any top shooter is going to say the same thing. And that's really what it's about, is changing your thinking from shooting faster to seeing what you need to see sooner. It's about your eyes being faster, seeing what they need to see, and you can do that by pushing this stuff in practice past your limits, and then bringing it back and continually pushing past your limits to achieve these higher normalities for yourself, basically raising your own bar. So that's what I'm doing here in pretty much all of my practices, depending on what I'm focusing on, but this is definitely one where I'm pushing the movement and shooting while I'm moving. And I was pretty successful. I'm not going to say you can't run this type of thing 100%. You're going to have some misses. You're going to have some Charlies, some Deltas, and then you just dial it back to where you can attain it. But what you're going to do is you're going to speed up your eyesight, and you're going to see things past your capabilities, but then the next time you bring it back, you're going to be able to do it a little bit better. So this is, again, normal speed of what you just saw in slow-mo. And we'll do a few of these. Yeah, here's me pushing past my limits right there, missing the target. I only give myself like an extra shot or so. Sometimes I load my bags down so that I only have enough to take the amount of shots required for whatever discipline I'm doing, to ensure that I'm being disciplined and taking the appropriate shot, not wasting extra shots. Here I got a swinger set up, and I take it last on this run. The next run I take it first to be aggressive, and I'm always just changing. At the very least, I'm not shooting the same thing over and over and over. I try to change it up after a few runs, and it's important. So here I'm just, like I said, taking the swinger first, pushing it, and it's important to change things up just a little bit so you don't get comfortable. It's not about trying to do one thing, one stage that you've built perfect, or one type of practice. You want to change things up so that you're not used to it, just like you would see in a match. So here, this is me just trying to move where I can. I remember I felt a little stiff this morning, and this lean right there was a little uncomfortable, but I executed it fairly well. A little slow on the right side here. Here I start with the head. Everybody else kind of started with that left paper. I went head, then left, then right, so I could move off of that sooner, and I thought it would work. I was scared of these white pieces of paper here, so I slowed down, but all in all, it wasn't bad. I got my hits, and just goes to show you I'm more conservative, and I think everybody probably is, in matches than I am in practices. But if you pushing it in practice, if you're pushing your limits, then you'll find that the matches are actually easy. You dial it back slightly. Like here I'm moving backwards, but I stop for one of the harder shots there. Almost come to a complete start. Oh, forgot to reload. That's typical. And then, of course, peeled out, trying to make up the time. What I did well here, and that you'll see it again in the slow-mo, at the end there, to that last position, you're able to really lean and get the last target instead of going to the far corner on the other side. But we'll start here. Backing up on these targets. This low one was a little sketchy. As I'm backing away, I wanted to make sure I had a really stable platform, so I almost came to a stop. Then I get into that open paper quick. Then, forgot to reload. And you know, peel out trying to make up some time. But coming into this position, it's my last position. I want to walk my way into it because I got to get there anyways, but instead of wasting time, I can take those poppers on the move, which I did successfully. It's not always successful, but when I'm walking towards a position that I'm going to have to stop for anyways, I might as well take a shot at some of the poppers. So here's just more of a distance changeup that I'll talk about in the video. So what I got here is, well, you see it, paper and steel mixed, different distances. It's a distance changeup. So what I'm focusing on is the presentation of my sights on the target and what I need to see before I break that shot. So that's why I like to mix up the targets, mix up the distances, and I'm adding a little bit of movement in there so that I can move where I can, but not giving up the sight picture I need to see before I break that shot. So this is something that is typical of what I do as far as working on, especially for big matches. This is something that you're going to see is a lot of different distances, different targets, varied, and it's important to train like this so that way you don't get caught doing the same splits on all the same paper targets you see. Now I'll go a step further typically and do some hard cover or some no shoots on this, which I don't currently have because I'm also focusing on right now, instead of focusing on those difficult shots on paper, I'm more or less focusing on getting the fast splits on the close ones and then taking the time on the far ones, as well as 1-for-1ing steel. So it's even this setup, it's not that easy. It's difficult to run clean. I'm not pushing the time. This is taking me under 6 seconds to do, but again, it's not really for the time. I'm just doing it for the sight picture, the trigger, feeling my trigger, the prep of the far targets and the steel, and breaking the shot appropriately. The movement is just adding that extra little bit of difficulty like I would in the match. So getting my hips in the position I would need them to go from one side, like I'm starting on the left, I'm taking a wide stance to transition to what I need to hit there, to immediately go into my next array, which is over here on the right, my last 3 targets, to have my positions at hips in a good position to where I can get to those quickly and start engaging those sooner, essentially. So kind of a lot, it's compounded, a lot going on, but essentially the drill, I can stand here and shoot these targets with a different targets, different distances, and it's going to accomplish some of the same things. So something to try, see what you think, and let me know. Okay, back to it. So I'm basically just breaking up my arrays here with that pole in the center and just very little movement. So making mistakes, of course, I'm showing you some of those. There's definitely plenty more where that came from. And then if you notice, I've changed up the targets a little bit here and there, different distances and different variations. And I do that so I don't get accustomed, like I talked about earlier, to the same thing over and over. But it's very important that you're moving as fast as you can. Your eyes are tracking to the target first, and then your pistol will follow, your sights will follow. And here I dropped my gun a little bit between each array. No reason for that. I should have just kept the gun up in the right position for the most part, looking for that next target, and then the gun will go to it. And this one I'll end on, and as you can see, everybody seemed to like that because I definitely screwed up. So I had trigger freeze, and we'll slow it down. Take one target on the outside, and then the rest I can take from this upper shooting area. So I go bottom to top, but I wanted to go so fast that yeah, I had some trigger freeze there, and I knew I had to go back get that alpha. So I do a dive, which was a crowd pleaser to say the least. So could have left it, I guess, but it was fun, and it's just a little local match. But some finer points on all of this is when you're practicing, set things up at different distances, set things up close, far, and really work on seeing what you need to see sooner. I tend to say that a lot, but it's very important. So if you can keep your gun up and track the next target with your eyes, as soon as you break that last shot from the target you're shooting, immediately get your eyes to the next target, so your body will naturally put your sights in the position they need to, especially the more you do it, to be in position to shoot the next thing sooner. And don't be afraid to move. Get low, get stable with your lower body, and don't ignore your hips. Square up your hips to the target as needed, and get them in a proper position to take that shot sooner. All right, you guys have a good day.